Hello, today I would like to share to you about an article which written by Thomas W. Walden and Andreas J. Gans. The title of the article is International Energy Trade and Access to Energy Networks. The first part is about access to networks as a precondition for cross-border trade in energy and energy services. International energy trade has been little developed in the debate on and jurisprudence of international trade law. The major reason is that it is only over the past decade that privatization followed by liberalization of former national energy monopolies has opened up increasingly competitive national and then regional markets in energy, understood here as electricity and gas. There is also a major distinction between trade in normal goods and services and trade in energy. Energy trade, at least in electricity and gas, is as a rule network dependent, and you just call that the exception in the case of gas is liquefied natural gas or LNG transportation by ship. Network dependence means, in essence, that the mere lifting of import barriers is not enough. Proactive measures have to be taken to open up networks and network establishment to imported energy. However, this assumes that energy networks actually exist, and as we explained, this gives rise to the challenge of how to attract investment in new network infrastructure. The purpose of this article is to discuss and explain this distinctive feature of international energy trade and to formulate policy proposals for further liberalization, in particular in the interest of developing countries. Free cross-border trade in energy, in particular electricity and gas, over interconnections can offer significant economic benefit in terms of security, flexibility and quality of energy supply and greater competition, and this will enhance national welfare through consumer price and service benefits. The reasons for interconnection may vary for electricity and gas, whereas it might be indispensable to trade gas internationally across border because a country has no or insufficient indigenous resources, interest in exchange of electricity itself of secondary energy source, maybe more in the sphere of utilizing the lowest marginal cost generating plane on the interconnected system, for example in expensive excess hydropower. Nevertheless, there are also security benefits for electricity from emergency exchanges of capital or capacity or exchanges of spine reserves. These benefits became apparent as early as the 1990s when already several interconnected power systems existed in North America and Europe. But trade was never free and was administered through state import and export monopolies, or sometimes by regionally demarcated private concern, as in the case of West Germany. It's what not only until the tide of utility liberalization that some states rediscovered energy free trade as a means of elevating the encrusted market of their former gas and electricity monopolies. The nodes are mere interconnected systems aimed at exploiting the natural synergy which exists between systems that were predominantly hydro-based and those that were based on thermal plants. It allows the surplus hydro capacity to be fully utilized in rain periods and also firms up the hydro system capacity in times of drought. Few would not doubt that gas is not a commodity or good. This has been questioned unconvincingly for electricity, but as Piraeus and Nuss point out, in international and supranational agreements and hence in a free cross-border trade situation, electricity is seen rather as good and a commodity beside. Differences between free trade in services and goods are merging. Phillips, Xenophon Piraeus and Sabina Nuss trade in electricity spot on. Okay, we have to continue the article. However, the number and capacity of most of the existing interconnectors was only constructed to meet the needs of security aspects, and this needed significant upgrading to allow for competition purposes. While liberalization and thereby its crucial component, third-party access, is always and everywhere decried by existing operators and their employees and political allies sustained by patronage from monopoly rent and argues against from social, economic, cultural, and legal perspective. It has so far worked everywhere. In the United Kingdom, for example, it was predicted that energy liberalization would lead to general breakdown of the energy supply. That did not happen. Prices came down basically because privatized and competitive markets should work more efficiently according to economic theory and actually do work better in commercial practice. Cost savings come not only from reduced employment needs and greater efficiency in more focused development and application of new technologies, but also by reallocation of producing assets by mergers and acquisitions to obtain more productive asset mix. Lower energy costs help economics to be more competitive, but also allow governments to impose higher energy tax. A good share of the productivity gain from energy liberalization is currently being taken by new energy taxes, and that is likely to increase. A major advantage is that it makes hitherto heavy and oligarchic monopolies closely linked to politicians and trade union interests more flexible, innovative, international, and forward-looking. It transformed dormant industries into very competitive industries. The countries that manage to do this in overcoming major obstruction are usually those that are economically that strongest. There have been cases where liberalization policies are sometimes few and having failed. In summer 2001, Californian electricity supply shortages were widely cited as an illustration of such failure. But California was, but no longer is, a situation where freeing up of wholesale prices was not combined with freeing up of retail prices. Higher supply prices created by the then very strong economic growth could not be shipped to customers. All the required incentives were missing to invest in new capacity, obstructed by pervasive opposition to power stations, to build interconnectors to other states, and on the main side, to emphasize energy savings. The potential for economic benefits for energy trade is particularly rich and here too barely developed in relation between developing countries, institutional barriers, law, tax, political and regulatory discrimination, lack of technical interoperability, and absence of good neighborly relations are as a rule prohibitively high. Developed economic have over the past 15 years made substantial progress in facilitating cross-border energy trade, but such progress has been denied to developing countries. The underdevelopment of external and internal governance in the main cause, without liberalization of energy trade, liberalization of energy services in unlikely experience in open or opening energy markets shows that new services emerge, for example, energy trade, shipping, demand management, supply, brokerage, future trading, and etc. This did not exist in any significant form before liberalization, except to some extent as minor management functions within integrated energy monopolies. Liberalization of the energy markets means that existing monopolies and their political and social appendages lose or are forced to restructure to become competitive, but it also means that there is a great potential for highly qualified jobs and business opportunities. Partly new, partly migrating out of the restructuring of existing energy monopolies to new service operators. Another advantage of liberalization is that it greatly reduces the potential for corruption inherent in closed utility industry. State machinery collusion. Virtually all energy monopolies have been involved in above average corrupt relationship with politicians. The survey by Transparency International shows that the energy industries have one of the highest incidence of grand corruption that is unavoidable as utility rent is sustained by politicians and then shared. Corruption scandals have centered on utilities, favoring politicians and parties in virtually every country. With competitive energy market, the interpenetration of politics and energy industries in diminished and thus the potential for corruption of whole political system. Okay. Energy monopoly is a sense means state-industry collusion with corruption as its essential purpose, and probably also of union leaders co-opted. Energy liberalization means that the close link disappears, monopoly rent fades, and politicians are much less necessary for sustaining monopoly rent as this form of income gas. And monopoly rent is also no longer available for sharing with politicians. Competition differs down monopoly rent, and shareholders following market logic replace politicians and trade union leaders. liberalization of cross-border energy, in particular electricity and gas, trade is not possible without an effective system of providing standardized, easily managed and predictable access to energy networks. That is the reason of the telecommunication market, were accessed by competing providers of telecommunication services to final consumers, has required access to telephone lines. A problem now largely solved in most developed countries. It is also the reason for domestic energy liberalization that the emergence of competitive energy markets, first within the United States, in the United Kingdom, and now on a growing basis both within other EU member states and then within the European Union itself. Network-bound energy cannot reach distributors and customers, but larger industrial and household customers. Without it, the importer of electricity or gas or the producer of electricity can have access on reasonable terms to pre-existing interconnection, storage, transport, and distribution networks. The right to build new facilities of this type is necessary, but will have only in exceptional cases. Existing operators, typical state-owned, often non-privatist or private countrywide or regional or local integrated monopolies, will often do all they can to prevent new entrants or competitors from gaining access to their system. The transport system is a stranglehold. Control over it makes it possible to fill it, and thus to claim lack of capacity, charge excessive transfer fees, and thus to claim lack of capacity and obtain of information that allows the undercutting of new competitors and provides a method to delay and obstruct access by long negotiations, litigation, and manipulation of price, terms, and technical conditions. Third-party access is thus an essential condition for creating competitive national energy markets and competitive cross-border energy markets. Without third-party access, existing energy monopolies operate in effect as an unavoidable toll gate for market entry. The benefits of new supplies and competition go to existing operators rather than to consumers and the economy at large. Electricity and gas trade is possible, but only on the term and to the benefit of existing monopolies, which in fact can further strengthen their monopoly position by forcing new suppliers to channel their energy through their facilities on their terms and subject to their strategy. In this partly historical, partly analytical, partly legal, partly policy-oriented article, we survey the main economic concepts underlying third-party access to energy networks, follow the evolution and third-party access concept in competition law and in energy regulation, with a particular emphasis on the recent, most relevant and ongoing EU experience, sketch out the main issues of international cross-border energy transit, and conclude that with a proposal for reference paper, approach to liberalization of energy and energy services trade under a futures GATT regime. Okay, we will continue to part 2 in the next video.